Germany with another embarrassing early exit in the World Cup, losing against Paraguay in the round of 32 on penalties, bro. And even before I start this video, let me preface this by saying that I am half German. I was born in Germany. I went to Robert Schumann Grundschule in Pirmasens, Germany, Hugo Ball Gymnasium, Pirmasens, Germany, and I even played for FK Pirmasens in my youth. Ich rede auch Deutsch. So I don't want anyone coming here like, oh, American accent, I'm not even gonna value his opinion. Like, bro, I'm half German, okay? So get over yourself. So just going into this absolutely disaster game that we should have never lost. We should have won this game comfortably in the first 90 minutes. Like, when it comes to this team, I just don't understand what the disconnect is. We have so many elite players that perform well for their clubs, get results for their clubs, but when it comes to playing for the national team, it's just like, well, let's go back to amateur level, boys. Like, what even is going on with this team? Like, we just look at the tournament itself. Like, okay, yeah, Curacao, we 100% should have beat them 7-1. We honestly should have beat them 7-0. Not taking away their goal, of course, because it was an absolute banger, but we should have won that the way we did. The next game, Ivory Coast. Ivory Coast is a much better team, but still, compared to Germany, we should have done much better than we did. We ended up winning 2-1, but we should have done much better. And then, of course, going up against Ecuador when we lost 2-1. That was a complete disaster and failure on Nagelsmann's part. I just don't see it any other way because we already qualified. He should have rested our starting players. We shouldn't have gone out there with our A team because one, we already qualified. We shouldn't have rested. And two, now we just look dumb starting our A team and then losing. We looked dumb, we looked vulnerable, and Paraguay completely exploited that. They were like, hey, Ecuador can do it, we can do it too. And sure enough, that's exactly what they did. And the thing about Paraguay's game, that it wasn't just a park the bus situation. They had a deliberate plan of how to dismantle Germany. And they executed it to perfection. But that's not the biggest problem in this whole thing is not the way Paraguay played against Germany. It is the way Nagelsmann played against Paraguay. And not just against Paraguay, against Ecuador as well, against Ivory Coast. Curacao, we did what we did. We won the game. But all the other games, you could tell that we were struggling. And part of that is, like, let's be honest. Let's be honest. It's on Nagelsmann. He's the one that's making the decisions on who gets to play, how we get to play, who goes to the World Cup. Because, like, we got to be very clear. There have been there were some players in this World Cup squad that should have never been part of the World Cup squad. That's just a fact. There are several players that should have never been part of the squad. And one of them, and I hate to point him out, single him out, But it's just so insane to me that we keep bringing Leroy Sané with us. And I try to like him. Used to be a Bayern player when he was at Bayern. I used to try to support him as much as I could, even though he was struggling. But the fact is that Leroy Sané, he's a mid player at best. The way he plays is it's awful. There's nothing about Leroy Sané that tells me, man, we should start this guy. We should he is the guy for the job. No. There's literally nothing about him. He doesn't have he doesn't stick to his strengths, number 1. Number 2, he can't dribble to save his life. The only thing he can do successfully is run after the ball in a straight line and get to the goal. Finishing is a different story. It's 50-50 there, but that's a strength. Dribbling is not. And we saw that. It was very evident this tournament, but especially against Paraguay. Let's go ahead and look at his stats real quick. So we're looking Leroy Sané's overall stats. He played 88 minutes. He had obviously 0 goals, 0 assists. He created a whopping 0 chances. Nothing. He had 7 dribbles. 0 of those were successful. He attempted 8 crosses. 0 of those were successful. Please tell me again how he benefits the team. Why did he keep starting? And this is just Paraguay's game. That's consistent with what we've seen this tournament. But yet he kept starting at right wing position. Sure, if Leonard Carl would have been there, he would have been starting. However, with these terrible numbers, with how he's been playing, we should have done something different. Sané shouldn't have been starting. Maybe we could have experimented by putting Havertz in central attacking midfield, Undav in striker position, and then maybe move Musiala over to the right wing. Because when Musiala came on to the game, Leroy Sané came out, Musiala took that right winger position, and the game already looked 10 times better. Why didn't we do that from the start of the tournament? Because guys, Sané is not the guy. He's not the guy. I just don't understand how we keep playing this guy. And once again, I'm not trying to dog on the guy. I'm not trying to belittle him or anything. But when it comes to performance, he's not performing. He hasn't performed for Bayern Munich, so we already knew what type of player he is. He moved to Galatasaray. Even at Galatasaray, he hasn't been performing. So the fact that he even made the Germany team to go to the World Cup is beyond me. And it didn't happen because Carl got injured. He was already on the team before that. So and I just don't understand how. But that just brings me back to Nagelsmann. Nagelsmann and his decisions. Why did he make those decisions? Why is he playing Sané so much? Also, the fact that Goretzka came along. Don't get me wrong, I like Goretzka, right? I fully when it comes to Goretzka, I love seeing him play. I'm a Goretzka fan. But the reality is Goretzka didn't have a good enough year in his last year with Bayern Munich to be able to go to the World Cup. There's several other players that I could think of that should have gone ahead of him. One being Tom Bischoff. Tom Bischoff had an amazing year with Bayern Munich, and I think he would have deserved to come, and I think he would have probably impacted the game some. So when it comes to all these decisions from on the pitch, like I just don't understand what Nagelsmann is thinking. But it also comes to the just thinking about who all is like the entire team, right? We got to think about, we have all these elite players, all these players that play at mega clubs and achieve so much with their clubs, but when they come together for Germany, it's like there's nothing there. There's no connection. There's no cohesion in this team. It's like Die Mannschaft doesn't exist anymore. I don't know what it is about all these players not being able to come together and just get together and become this one team, but something needs to happen. And for starters, what I think needs to happen first is Nagelsmann leaving. Nagelsmann was a problem at Bayern Munich. It was very evident because as soon as he was gone, things were smoothing out at Bayern Munich. And I see the exact same thing happening at Germany. Like, no, he's not. He didn't destroy Germany, right? Because Germany already was bad. But he is making a bad situation worse. And I think we just need a new coach that can bring this team together. And obviously, one of the names we're hearing around here is Jurgen Klopp. And dude, if Klopp would go to Germany, that would be absolutely amazing. But I mean, that's just fan theories and stuff. So if that actually happens, that's a different story. But the fact is, I think Julian Nagelsmann needs to leave. So I also did want to talk about the decision of Manuel Neuer coming out of retirement. So if we look at the tournament as a whole, like, there's really not much you can say about Manuel Neuer's performance, right? All the goals we conceded, like, there's nothing you could do. It was a moment where the defense just fell asleep. It was a moment, like, on all the goals, it was a moment where the defense just fell asleep. And, like, literally, there was nothing Neuer could have done with any of the goals he conceded. And especially against Ecuador, that corner. Like, a lot of you have your opinions, like, oh, he should have gone and contested that ball. He should have gone towards the ball. Blah, blah, blah. Like, bro, it was a corner kick. The header was from inside the 5-yard box. So we're talking about, like, the header was maybe from 4 feet or less away from him. That's just being missiled towards him. Like, he needs to make a split-second decision on what he needs to do, and obviously it's coming towards him, so he's going to think, I'm just going to catch this ball. That's really all there is to it. But an Ecuadorian player just gets a quick poke with his toe on the ball, and the ball goes in. Like, there's nothing else Neuer could have done. Like, sure, like, yeah, he could have moved towards the ball as well. But you also have to consider he's repositioning himself for a ball that's coming towards the middle, which means he's stepping back. So now as the ball is coming towards him, like, going from a backwards motion to a forward motion is not is not that easy. Especially if it has to be like within a split second. So, like, the ball was coming towards him, he was going to catch him. Ecuadorian player gets a toe poke in, and that's it. Like, there's literally nothing Neuer could have done differently besides, you know, come out of his goal, which I think maybe would have been even worse. So, like, it is what it is. At the end, like, it was in a game that didn't matter much because it was against Ecuador. We already qualified. But you got a lot of people blaming him for that one, and I just don't see it. Especially, me having like growing up playing as a goalkeeper. I always take the goalkeeper side. So also, I mean, just looking at the situation, it's common sense, guys. It's common sense. Like, the ball is coming towards him, he's going to catch the ball. Attacker gets a toe poke in, that's it. Like, there's nothing else he could have done differently. Especially on any of the other goals, there's nothing he could have done. There's nothing he could have done. The goals that were scored were perfect. A goalkeeper would have never saved those. You could say that, yes, the defense, they fell asleep and they let those happen. Like, sure, yeah. Like, especially that first goal from Paraguay. Nobody was marking the player on the right. I don't remember who it was who assisted that first goal. He let's see. Let me see if I can. I don't even remember who assisted that goal. Could have been Galarza. Yeah, so Galarza, when he assisted that goal, no one was marking him. And then, of course, Enciso, no one was marking him. And you could argue that since Schlotterbeck's injury, our defense declined. Because, like, honestly, Rüdiger, I don't think Rüdiger is a good defender. I don't even think he's a top 50 defender in the world. And like, yeah, he plays at Real Madrid, but he hasn't even played well at Madrid, so I don't understand the hype around him. I think there should have been other players starting ahead of him. In defense, of course. There's really not much to say. Like, I never was, and I probably never will be, a huge fan of Rüdiger, but you could tell that after Schlotterbeck's injury and Rüdiger stepping into his place, that the defense declined. His first game was against Ecuador. We lost that one. His second game was against Paraguay. He should have done a much better job marking players. I don't think he was as good as... I don't think he is as good as people make him out to be. So there's definitely a lot more to talk about this German team. I mean, like, we also have to say there's a lot of hope. There's a lot of hope for this team. Like, we got a young squad. We got a lot of good players coming up. And, one of the players I do want to talk about that to me was the player of the tournament for Germany is Nemecha. Felix Nemecha had such a great tournament, I think. Really good asset in the midfield. He was up in attack, helping out, assisting, trying to find the spaces so that he can help his attackers get to goal. He came back on defense, making crucial tackles, especially against Ivory Coast. Ivory Coast, he was man of the match for me. Against Ivory Coast, he was phenomenal. So honestly, I think Nemecha, when he came off against Paraguay, I once again, in my opinion, another questionable bad decision by Nagelsmann. I don't think Nemecha should have come off at halftime. Like, Goretzka coming in, honestly, like he brought a little bit of life into the game. I will say that. But Nemecha, I think he's a crucial midfielder for the Germany squad. So when he came off, I thought that was a pretty bad decision. But I mean, it is what it is. There's nothing you can do. It's just a bunch of questionable decisions made, period. And honestly, well, like there's nothing else you can say about it. And another disappointing World Cup for Germany. And yeah, here's to getting better. Here's to finding a solution for the future. And who knows? Like we're about to get a new sponsor. We're about to get outfitted by Nike. So maybe that'll create a new different spark for Germany. But I mean, we'll see what happens. We got the Euros to prepare for in 2028. So we just got to look forward. Like look at the mistakes we made, build off of those. Also look at the good, and especially build off of the good. And then we move on from there. So, but this tournament is not over. As a half German, half American, obviously I'm still going to be supporting the U.S. So hopefully they do well in this tournament and continue on. But as for Germany, I expect much more from them in the future.